We're here for Jo and his Q&A.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Jo.
You can hear me?
Welcome.
I'm wearing my headset, so hopefully I sound better.
Okay, I'll leave face cam up, but I'm turning off chat box.
So
there.
Well, we're going to try to do these dev Q&As as often as we can to keep y'all informed on what's going on in the community and also to answer your questions. We appreciate your support for our game. I mean, just we only asked for $12,000 to help us, get this game, get a couple models for the game, and you guys have just blown us away. We're getting really close to 400,000 now, and with your funding, we were able to hire Simon Chylinski, who's the award-winning sound effects artist for Subnautica. We're working on hiring Gia Howe. He's already committed. He's just right now he's under contract with somebody else right now until the end of the month, and then he opens up in October, and then he's going to come work for us starting in October, and he'll be our concept and 3D artist, texture, UV textures, things like that. We're talking to an animator who is under contract until the end of the year. So hopefully in January we can get that animator. But with Gia, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with doing some concepts. I've had some people express concerns over the splash image we're using with the big red dragon, and people have found it on ArtStation and things like that. Some people have even accused us of ripping that off, and just everything we have that we use, we either have made it ourselves, or we have a exclusive or non-exclusive license to use it. So with the that splash image, that's going to be the first thing that we're going to have Gia do, is make us a brand new splash image for our game. It's going to have a fire dragon on one side and a fire elemental on the other, and they're going to be in a combat scene, and we're going to put our Day of Dragons logo right in the middle. So let's go ahead and let's make a channel for people to actually discuss what I'm talking about. We have the Dev Q&A channel. If you have questions, put them in there. A moderator will read them off to me, and I'll answer them as the mods are reading them to me. But I want to make a channel here. It's going to be a Dev Q&A discussion to let you guys talk to each other and just emoji or whatever you want to do here. There it is. I think you all have access to that channel. You all see it. It's right above this one. It should be unlocked. Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now it is.
Maybe just like a 30-second slow mode, maybe.
All right, let me put a slow mo. Looks like it has.
I spent 2 minutes on this because everyone's being a dingus and spamming it. This is for Q&A questions, not spam, guys. Come on.
The discussion channel here, this one's just for them to talk, so they can go ahead and
they can go nuts.
The
But
Q&A hasn't been unlocked yet.
That is just the talking.
There is a 30-second slow mode on that channel, but okay. So before we get started with the questions, let's see where it was. I saw the splash image. It's going to be an epic image. It's going to be just for us. It'll show up on our Steam store page, which should be going live any day now. Gina, we made us a trailer, an alpha test trailer, and that was the last thing that we needed to get the Steam page marked as coming soon. So that should be, I mean, they should be approving that tomorrow or Friday at the latest. So then you can share our Steam page, and we'll have a Steam forums where people can, it'll be kind of like an extension of Discord for the Steam community. So we got 1 week left of Kickstarter. We have had so many people giving us, sending us messages requesting more of the latecomers combo packs, and my intention with the specials like the white dragon skin and the dark elemental skin was to keep them rare, and I made that promise. I'm going to keep them rare. But as our Kickstarter backers keep growing, I think that as long as we keep it under 10% of all Kickstarter backers, or less than 1,000 total, then I'm still keeping that promise. Because even with 1,000 white dragon skins and a game with 30, 50, 100, 200,000 players, it's still going to be extremely, extremely rare. So starting today, if you haven't already noticed, we're going to be releasing small increments of the latecomers combo pledges. I think I put 30 more on there today, so tomorrow there'll be anywhere from 10 to 30 more, and I'll keep doing that every day until the end of Kickstarter, but it will not go over 500, and it's not going to go over 10% of the total Kickstarter backers. So if you missed out on the latecomers, these rewards are they're Kickstarter exclusives. We're never going to sell them as DLCs or offer them again. So this is like the only opportunity. So if you want one to have on your account, if you don't want to count on other people to spawn you into the game, or nest spawn you as this, and you want it for yourself, this week is the last week to get those. So, and like I said, different times during the day, every day I'll be releasing a few more latecomers combos, but no more stretch goals, no more pledge packs. But Kickstarter's been crazy, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your spirit. You guys have been great. It's been I've been managing Discord communities and TeamSpeak communities for a long time, probably always since back 2001. I started doing TeamSpeak communities back in 2001. So I've been doing this a long time, and you guys have been great. We haven't had hardly any problems at all, and we appreciate you, and thank you for backing our game. So mods, if you want to go ahead and unlock that Q&A channel, we'll start taking questions.
I posted 2 different questions in there for you to start off with. One has 3, one's a single. Both of them had to go to work, so I'm asking for them.
Oh, okay. If you could just read them off to me, I'm not going to monitor that. It's just too much for me to monitor.
Okay, Jesus Christ, guys, slow down. The question is, for the dragon species that will have... He did English very well. For the dragon species, will there be visible differences between males and females, since males will have enhanced horns? Will Joe ever consider giving female dragons a unique cosmetic feature, for example, markings on wings or body?
It's just going to depend on the species. Some species, the males might look, they might look more masculine, and the females might look more feminine. Other species, you might not be able to tell them apart. So maybe it'll be a color difference. Maybe it's the horns. It just depends on each species. But all those systems are already built into the game. All I have to do is like enable it for this species or disable it for that species.
Sorry.
Have to find your questions.
Slow down a little bit. Hey, will there be a group size limit?
There's no current group size limit. So I guess if you wanted a group of every person on the server, that's possible if you're all dragon.
Will we be on the placeholder map or the main map during beta?
You're going to be, it really just depends on how much I get done. Kickstarter put me back 3 weeks, so now I'm a week, behind schedule. And I was 2 weeks ahead of schedule when Kickstarter started. It's just been so many messages and emails and administrative type things, and us trying to get everything organized because we grew so fast. So all that takes so much time, and that's why we ask folks not to ping the devs, because we probably will answer you, and that takes time away. But if you can ping a moderator or a helper dragon or an admin or somebody else who can probably answer your question, then we'd ask that you do that first.
Is there any plans for a territory marking system of any kind?
Not currently.
Is there a roadmap for development in the works, or just gonna leave it be?
There is a roadmap, and it's in my Be Awesome Games Discord, where all the devs can see it. But it's not public because I don't want to publish a public roadmap, because you guys will see all the dates I have on there that are my dates for trying to get me to. Those are my own goals. And then if I don't meet those dates, you guys are going to be like, man, I was hoping for that. I took work off, this weekend for that patch to come out, and now it's not coming out till next week. So I want to avoid that. So I'm just going to, as patches are done, we'll put them out on the test server, and you guys will just have to be surprised.
Will there be any events after the Kickstarter, like winter events and such?
Maybe. There was some things that we thought of already because people have asked us about that. Maybe some kind of monster events, or maybe have a day where, maybe I'd put out a special patch, server patch, and it would unlock some special AI or some kind of creatures or something. Or maybe we would have like a nesting event, where we nest in people, or maybe it would be an elemental day. Everybody gets access to elementals on the server. So I don't know, there's a lot of things that we could do, and I'm not opposed to any of it. But right now my focus is getting things all ready to go for November 21st.
Does every dragon have fire resistance? If so, what is the purpose of the dragon that does have fire damage? Fire damage.
Not every dragon is fire resistant. A ice dragon is going to be very weak to fire, and a fire dragon is going to be very weak to ice. So they will all have strengths and weaknesses. But two fire dragons fighting each other, you're probably going to want to bite and not breathe fire, because it's not going to do a lot of damage. And I'm assuming that a lot of people are going to have mixed dragon packs or groups, and if the guy's a fire dragon, they'd probably have their fire dragon doing bite damage while the other guys were hitting them with electricity or plasma or acid or stuff like that.
Okay, I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the list and start from there, since some of those questions were asked early on. Rio Stone asks, what mechanics are you hoping to have in the game when the game hits early access?
Sorry.
What mechanics are we going to have in the game?
Yes, when it hits early access, what are you hoping to have?
All the base gameplay mechanics, and more to come after that. But combat, breathing fire, a lot of this stuff, like growth and eating and drinking, all that stuff's already in the game. Food and water, all that stuff, it's already in the game. I already have the combat systems already done. I just have to hook up the animations and the particle effects. I mean, before we even announced Kickstarter, a lot of the alpha testers, we were already playing around with the breathing fire on each other and the emotes and all that stuff. It's already done. I just have to hook it up.
How long are the night and day cycle gonna be?
Right now, a day is 40 minutes and a night is 20 minutes. I kind of like the idea of, dragons being able to see at night, so not actually having a night vision, but and just keeping it kind of like the way it is at night. So, but I don't know, that could change. It might get really dark at night and we might have night vision. I don't know yet.
Okay, will different types of dragons be able to group together? AKA like a fire dragon or an ice dragon in the same party?
All dragons can group together. So it doesn't matter what species you are, as long as you're a dragon, you can group up with another dragon. And if you're in the group together, you have a group chat, you have group name tags, and you have group damage immunity. So you can't bite each other or breathe fire on each other if you're in the same group. I like that idea because a lot of times people are trying to kill the other guy, and they end up killing their own friend, and then their friend gets upset or has to log off because they don't have time to grow another one. And so I think it's just best, but I'll probably have a server option for to be able to disable that eventually. And same thing with like crosshairs. There's going to be a little dot crosshair, so when you try to breathe fire, you can actually aim it. But I'll probably have a server option to disable that as well. And to finish your question, elementals can group up with elementals. Dragons and elementals cannot group up with each other.
Okay, awesome. Joey asks, will you hire more developers to keep up with the high expectations?
I'm going to hire who I need. And when it comes to programming, I'm very well versed in programming. I don't foresee myself needing to hire a programmer. So y'all are going to just have to, go at my pace. And I also wouldn't want somebody, messing up my code or putting in code that is going to bug the game. I'm very, very, I'm very, very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, precise when it comes to like coding. So I optimize as I go. I don't just throw code in and then optimize later. I try to optimize it as I go.
So you're meticulous in how you
very,
go about
yes.
it. But and I notice you do really, really well with following your checklist as you go.
Yeah, so I mean, we got Simon for sound effects. We got Gia for concept, 3D modeling, texturing, characters and stuff. We got several people that are were looking at their music, for a soundtrack for the game. And we're talking to some animators who rig and animate. Other than that, I think the only other spot I'd be looking for is a visual effects artist. For custom, making custom fire and custom lightning and custom acid, visual effects and things like that.
Are there any plans to have a rarity system within breeding so that rare skins does not become common?
No. The rare skins, the only way to get the rare skins, you have to, when you start playing the game, you're going to have to spawn into the game, and outside of the Kickstarter skins, you're going to have to actually, get a lucky roll on the dice to get one of those really rare exotic skins in the game. And then, if you can keep breeding babies that want that skin, I guess you can keep it going. But, I'm sure there's going to be, you're going to die. So when you die, you're going to have to try to get it again or try to get it from somebody else. But the whole combat, death system, that keeps things rare.
Okay, we have a question. I would request one of the mods to type out the answer because the person is deaf. Asks, because the stretch goals ended around 100K and it seems like you're still getting around another 300K after that, what will you do with the extra money?
We're going to do what we plan to do, and that's make the game. I don't think people understand. The stretch goals. Hitting 100,000 was that stretch goal was just to get us. We didn't think we were going to hit 100,000. So we put out a incentive to get the community to that were who had already backed, to get them to tell their friends to try to get us to 100,000, and in return we're going to give them a Behemoth Ice Drake Kickstarter exclusive. But just so you all get an idea of how much all this stuff is going to cost, and to make a AA quality, maybe AAA quality game, it's very expensive. Just one dragon model alone is going to run us, anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 or $9,000 just for one dragon. So if you want to get 30 dragons in a game, that's a lot of money. You're looking at over $200,000 just for the dragons when it's all said and done. So, and then when you have this kind of funding, there's probably going to be somebody that wants to sue you for something. So you got to have a lawyer, that makes your EULAs and make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's so you don't get sued. Those cost money. And then you got to have an accountant, because Uncle Sam's going to want his money, and Steam gets their money, and Unreal gets their money, and so there's, Kickstarter gets their money. So everybody gets a share, and then you got to pay, your devs or in freelance, and you're outsourcing. So the money goes quick. But what you get for all that investment is going to be a game unlike, with dragons in it, that unlike any other dragon game on the market. So, I mean, these are going to be really, really good looking dragons in a beautiful environment with a good running server, and it's going to be something I don't think very many people are doing, if at all. So.
Let's see. Abnormal asks, will elder dragons be almost as big as elementals?
Depends on the dragon. Elementals are going to be big. They're big monsters, you know, and they hate dragons. Some dragons are going to grow very large. Others are they're not going to grow larger. They're just going to grow more powerful. So you might have a really, a not so big dragon taking on a elemental and, potentially killing it. It just depends on what kind of elemental, what kind of dragon, what his resistances are, what your resistances are, and, your skill.
Okay, let me see. Squishy asks, will there be any form of environmental interaction in the future, such as pushing over trees, burrowing, etc.?
No plans on that. No plans.
And then so they were also asking if they have, will dragons have multiple calls, like friendly, threatening, help?
Yeah, we answered that in our last Q&A, and yeah.
And that'll move forward once we have the sound guy on board, right?
Yeah, we already have some. He's already working on sounds. The way Simon works is he needs a concept, and then he visualizes what it would sound like after seeing it. So, starting in October, we're going to start getting concepts in, and then he's going to start being able to visualize the voices, the unique voices for these different creatures. So, yeah.
With drakes being wingless and dragons and wyverns obviously being able to fly, will drakes have some sort of movement advantage over the other two, like faster running speed or more stamina?
Drakes can't fly, but they're probably going to have very high resistances. So, it's to prevent people from kiting them, with their element powers, whether it's fire, plasma, or whatever. So they're probably going to have very high resistances, and you're either going to need to find their weakness, in whatever element it is, or you're going to have to fight them in, bite combat, bite, tail swipe, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's going to be, we're not going to make them so that, hey, they're just, killing me from the sky. So, no, who wants to play as a drake? But no, they're going to have very strong element resistances.
Will there be a means of marking the map? Like some sort of mechanism to like mark the map, whether, like it would be in real life, like somebody would, some animal would use scat to mark the map for territory.
I think we just had that question, but no.
I guess this also goes with probably scent. They're going to be like scent tracking mechanics.
We do plan on having a scent system. How it's going to work, we don't know yet.
Will there be caves in high places, say on the side of a mountain, and that you had to fly to?
I love caves. So,
you're not the only one.
I love caves. I'm gonna, if you don't know that, know this now. I love caves, and there's gonna be a lot of caves in the game. So,
Big dragon people.
Everybody's like, caves, yes.
Yes, caves! Woohoo! Alright, let's see. Chara asks, early access survival games, no matter how unique the idea, have a history of either becoming too ambitious to ever finish, or development slowing till no mutable process is ever made. What makes Day of Dragons different from other early access games?
Well, this is my first Kickstarter game, my first game, of program software. Um, this is a whole lot funner. You know, I'm not a quitter. I finish what I start. I think probably a lot of Kickstarter or not Kickstarter, but early access games, I think they stop or they fail because it was just a couple friends. They got together. They had what they thought was a cool idea. They did it as a weekend job, and they didn't really have a vision for it. So, this game, I want to see it succeed. I don't want. I don't like failure. I don't want it to fail. I got over 8,000 people that are, said, hey, we believe in you. We like your game, your idea, and we want to support you. So I got 8,000 plus people counting on me to get this thing done and make it work. So I guess you just gotta either believe I'm going to do it or not. I can promise you all day long, just like everybody else has done, that I'm going to finish it. But in the end, you just got to see what I've done already, see what I'm doing, and then have faith of what's going to come down the road.
Will certain dragons have special abilities like camo, invisibility, or mimicking, or other?
They already do.
You mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah, you mentioned that you all are gonna die. What will be the cycle of growing from an egg to hatchling to teen to adult and finally to elder? Estimated time to keep it reasonable and entertaining.
Was that like all one question, or were there like?
No, yeah, that was like one question.
I think they were just asking about how long.
You mentioned that we're all gonna die. What will be the cycle of growing from an egg to an hatchling to teen to adult and finally to elder? Estimated time to keep it reasonable and entertaining.
There's not going to be like a life cycle. You're not going to a game message pops up and says, well, you've been alive for 180 hours, and your dragon is now died of old age. Nothing like that. So you could, like, if you're lucky and good, I guess you could have like one dragon that you begin to grow on November 21st, 2019, and if there's never a server wipe and the server never restarts a year later, you still have that same dragon. So, dragons aren't going to die on their own as long as you keep them fed and watered. Your dragon's not going to die unless somebody kills you. But as far as like growth times, we've already told people that, smaller dragons probably around 1 hour. Larger dragons around 3 hours. The supersized dragons like the behemoth ice drake, it's going to be a lot longer than 3 hours. Because with that dragon, we're basically giving you an out-of-the-box alpha class. So it's going to have to take a really long time for you to get it to max growth. That way you have to earn, you have to work for it and earn that kind of power.
Silver Siren asks a pretty fun question. This is, what dragon are you personally looking forward to the most?
All of them.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I mean, you know, you look at you like watch all these, like Pete's dragon. Elliot. I don't know what kind of dragon he was, but he was a cool, friendly dragon. And you watch, these other movies, How to Train Your Dragon movies, Aragon, um, Lord of the Rings with Smaug, and there's all kinds of cool dragons out there. But this game, it's like every one of these dragons are going to be my baby, because I want to have a hand in what they look like, how they, what their abilities are, and of course I have Bad Parrot and I got Gia that all going to be throwing in input in the other devs, and we're all going to be like, and we're going to listen and see what the community's wanting, and but so it's like you are hand making all of these, so these dragons don't even exist yet, but they're going to, so they're all going to be cool.
How many per group in like a dragon? How many dragons per group?
No limit.
Mr. Panini asks, what's the biggest breakthrough that you've accomplished this week?
The biggest breakthrough I've accomplished this week is probably the Biome Travel system. That's before the devs were teleporting themselves to the redwoods. And like I said, the redwood map that's in the game right now is just a placeholder map. And I put that in there so I could get the biome travel. As I was working that, you have to have another biome in there to test the biome travel system. And then Kickstarter kind of blew up, and then the streamers wanted to see other cool stuff, and I was like, well, you can you can look at this, but it's a little buggy right now. But this week we got the actual biome travel system in,
which I just showcased right now.
And basically the world, and I don't know any other game that's doing this, at least not games where you host the game on a dedicated server, but in Day of Dragons, I can stack as many 20k by 20k biomes in there as I want to, and they're you don't see them, but they're there because they're not loaded onto the client until you travel to them through the portal, and then it takes you into that biome, and then it's you see all the players that are in that that biome with you. But most games, they have one map, and then they kind of mix all their biomes together on that one map, and that one map is loaded all the time, and different biome or different map, you have to switch the maps out. But the system I have put into the game allows me to put all these biomes in the same world on the same dedicated box, and allows users to travel between them. And before, when you went to the redwoods, there was like this swaying, you'd like try to be moving forward, and you kind of move to the side a little bit. The movement was a little sloppy, but all that's been fixed, and it's all now live on the beta server right now. And yes, this means loading screens. So you have to have loading screens with this.
Okay. I know you already talked about like environmental destruction, but somebody did ask a good question about the behemoth drakes. How will they be able to get around a forest? Because they asked if they were able to knock down trees, but since you said no, how will they be able to get around?
I could disable collision on trees for them. That's one way. Another way would be, keep them in an icy biome and, maybe not bring them to the redwoods. So
then, if that's the case, how big are they planned on being compared to current alpha dragon size?
they're going to be big. I don't know how big, but big.
Big. That's going to be intimidating, it sounds like.
How dependent will hatchling be on their parents? What kind of features will hatchling have?
Hatchlings can bite and try to eat, kill little AI critters or other hatchlings for food, but they can't breathe fire and they can't fly, so they would be best off, with a mother or parents or a group or something like that to look after them until they grow up.
Let's see. I know you said that when the model gets replaced, you're going to have like the 3 main dragons. But the Kickstarter backers were wondering if, since there are special skins for the backers, is there going to be a special? Are you going to put like the first one in for like the Wyvern model since it's being replaced? So something's there for the Kickstarter backers at the beginning.
All right. The question is there going to be special skins for the Kickstarter backers
like
with the current model?
Something from the get-go for
no. The Kickstarter backers are probably not going to get their backer rewards until next year sometime. So you have to make the dragons, and then you have to model them and you have to animate them and texture them. And when they are getting textured, that's when all the skins get made. So I can add the feature into the game at any time, where the skin selection would be at the character screen, but the actual skin itself or dragon wouldn't actually be in until the dragon's made. So
For PvP, will there be a hitbox system, like more damage to head versus tail?
I don't know, because I don't know. I mean, probably not. You're not like shooting somebody through the head and trying to get a headshot, hitting their brain. You're biting them. So the dragon has a skull, so you'd have to crush through the skull or bleed them out. And fire fire won't matter if you hit them in the head or the tail or the leg. It's still going to burn them. So I don't see us having a aim for the head type game. And one of the things with those types of games, some people are really good at going for headshots. Some people get hacks or bots or special controllers or something that aim for the head, and so probably not. I don't see us doing like a specific area of damage. It's probably going to just be a hitbox. You hit the thing, and depending on what kind of damage you do, that's how much damage it'll take. After subtracting from the resistances.
Will there be any rules on the official servers?
We don't plan on having any kind of like gameplay rules. We're gonna have like chat rules on the servers. You're not gonna be able to call people obscene things, and uh, just common sense stuff on the chat servers or on the official servers as far as chatting goes. And if we find that there's some way of people are griefing other people, we would make a rule against that. If they're exploiting the game or cheating, that stuff, of course, is going to be against the rules. But as far as like gameplay, forcing people to play a certain way or preventing people from, killing each other, we're not going to have any kind of rules like that.
Will there be something more to play than dragons, elementals, and behemoths?
Dragons and elementals are confirmed as playable creatures. Maybe AI in the future. Maybe we'll start having playable AI maybe in the future.
What will make gameplay in Day of Dragons different than other survival games? And will there be anything for story aspects of the game?
I don't think any survival game has gameplay that's really different than any other survival game. They all take elements from the survival genre. So you have to eat, you have to drink, you have to survive. But each studio, each developer has their own way of making that happen and making it fun. So this is Day of Dragons is my take on a survival game. Some people might like it, some people might not. I can't say that that the survival genre or eating and drinking and combat and all that stuff. I can't claim that as being my idea because it's been around for many years. You look at games like DayZ and Rust and Ark, and there's so many survival games out there, and it's just going to be my take on the survival series.
I guess what would make it different is the fact that it has dragons in it. Can we expect baby carrying in this game post-release?
I would like to add the ability for parents to pick up their babies and fly them away. So that's something that I would like to do.
Will there be certain areas that only certain dragons can get to? For example, inside a volcano, only fire dragons have the heat resistance, or for deep water, that only aquatic dragons have the oxygen ability or capacity for?
That sounds like an exploration question, and those kinds of questions I'm not going to answer because I want you to play the game, explore, and find out for yourself if there's areas where only somebody that's a 100% immune to fire can get to. So
since drakes can't fly, will they be able to climb up vertical cliffs and such?
I don't know if we're going to do like cliff or tree climbing. If we did, it would be, probably not until 2021. I'll think about it, but definitely not anytime soon.
Is Gia going to make all new art for the dragons, or are you going to use some of his existing art?
Most of the stuff we're going to have him do is brand new stuff. We're probably going to use a lot of his creatures for AI because they're already really amazing. But I think just most all, if not all, of the dragons and elementals are going to be brand new stuff that, not stuff he's already made, but stuff he makes just for us.
Are there any plans to have a rarity system within breeding?
I think somebody already asked that question.
Oh crap, that was marked. Sorry about that. Is it possible for other means for hatchlings to be different in some way from the parent?
They will be different in that their stats will be different. They're going to look like one of their parents. And if it's they might not look like either one of them. Maybe there's special skins that only exist when one skin is bred with another skin that, people are just going to have to play the game to discover.
How closely do you look at the suggestion chat?
There's too much chat on our Discord for me to keep up with it all. I quit keeping up with most of it probably 2 weeks ago. It's taken up too much time reading everything. So there's people that read the suggestions and then they contact, if it's a good idea, they run it by me. But most, other than the private channels that only the staff have access to, I read the Kickstarter Backers Club a lot because I'm interested in what our backers are, what they think, how they're feeling, things like that. I visit the English chat every now and then. That's about it, really. I would visit all the other language chats, but I don't know what you guys are saying, so.
Since there will be loading screens between the biomes, what will stop the players fleeing from dragons from continuously traveling between the biomes to avoid death?
When you go through a biome, it spits you out in one of several random places in the other biome, and there's no portal where it spits you out, so you can't just get spit out of the portal and then jump right back in the portal. It's not a two-way portal, it's a one-way portal. So you go through a portal, it spits you out in a biome somewhere, and then you got to find, if you want to go back to that biome, you have to find a portal that takes you back to that biome, and it's not going to be right by the one that, there won't be a portal right where you came back out of, so you can't just, oh no, there's a behemoth ice drake here, run, go back through the port. No, you can't do that. So when you go through a portal, you're immune to damage until you finish loading. So somebody can't just kill you while you're loading back in the game. But as soon as you're done loading, you become vulnerable. So I'm going to try to keep the portal locations in an area, but there's no matter how I do biome travel, there's going to be people trying to camp the travel points or claiming travel points as territory and trying to keep people from going. So there's going to be multiple ways to get into a different biome. It's not going to be just like, this is the only portal to get to the redwoods, because that would just break the game.
Says, will the NPCs be inspired by other mythological creatures, or will they all be custom?
the NPCs or AI creatures in the game. A lot of them, I think we're just going to buy the exclusive rights from Gia Hao because he's already concepted some really amazing looking creatures that would fit right into our mythological, legendary type lore setting in our game, or alien, whatever you want to call it, not of Earth, but yet earthly. Um, and a lot of his artwork um, is, it's like he looks at this animal and this animal and this animal and this animal, and he puts them all together and makes a new animal. So, um, his stuff's really good. Um,
Will there be body carrying through the air? He says, I know body dragging is confirmed, but what about transporting food through the air using your feet, claws, talons, etc.?
I don't know. I don't know yet. It's something I'd have to think about if I want people to be able to carry corpses around.
Will there be battle damage like missing limbs that you don't get back and scars that you will keep?
Maybe. Making scars, permanent. It's something that's doable. I just don't know if if I want to do that yet or not. If I do, it's something that I'd add on my cool feature list, which would come after everything else that's on the schedule is done. So
Will broken wings be a thing?
I'm sorry. Well, what?
Broken wings.
There's definitely going to be debilitating damage. It's going to keep you from being able to fly, maybe limping. That's definitely something I'd like to add as broken wings and a visual animation, which I may or may not already have for the current dragon models.
Is weather gonna affect on the map, like lightning strike hitting a tree, making them burn or fall, or windstorms making trees fall over, etc.?
That kind of stuff, and knocking trees down when you walk through them, and that's kind of stuff that you mostly see on single player games. Because when you do that kind of stuff on a multiplayer game, it has to replicate that to everybody who's in the vicinity, and that kind of stuff eats up a lot of bandwidth. So I don't know. I don't know if maybe way in the future, but performance is very important to me. I want to try to get as many people on the servers as I can. So things like that eat up bandwidth just for some visual effect. I'm going to take performance over visual effects any day. So.
Top Cookie Raider asks, are there any plans for recording dragon ancestry as you have children and grow your family?
I guess that's you could. I mean, you could just keep track of parents, and every time you lay an egg, it has every parent. But I don't see how that would be much of a benefit. People can do that themselves with pen and paper, or spreadsheet or something. If you've ever bred animals in ARC, I used to breed different critters in ARC, and I kept track of all the this is the sire, this is the dam, and this is their offspring, this is their offspring, um, and I'd keep track of all the different stats that they were inheriting from each, and trying to pure breed different stat, health or damage or whatever, and I just kept that all on pen and paper. So I don't know if I'd actually put that in the game. People can do that themselves.
Will there be special skin combos with gray dragon skin, like Oreo skin for white and black? Like the Oreo skin for white and black?
Probably.
Also, what about the gray skin emoji? That's
You send Parrot Parrot and Vitalia both are making all those emojis, and I'm sure that a gray dragon emoji will probably come down the line.
What is the inspiration for Day of Dragons? I've been curious about it since I heard about the game.
How to Train Your Dragon. As far as like gameplay wise, different games I've played. Everybody, when you play multiple games. There's things you like about a game, there's things you don't like about a game. So then when you make your own game, you can put everything you like about every game you play into one game. And in my Steam library, I've played Ark more than any other game in my Steam library. I've had a lot of fun playing Ark. There's a lot of things I like about Ark. There's some things I don't like about Ark. I really liked it when they put out Scorched Earth, and they had the wyverns and the wyvern eggs and all that. So I took some inspiration from that. And I'm a big How to Train Your Dragon fan. All the different dragons in that movie, and the trilogy, and all their different abilities and all their different looks. And so, put those two together, and you put in your own ideas and glean some ideas from some other games, and then put them in the oven, bake them, and then out comes Day of Dragons.
We know for an egg to hatch, it needs to be certain temperature with breath, but will environment have an effect on the temperature, and will placement, biome, altitude affect the egg in some way?
Altitude will not, but temperature or biome and where on the biome definitely will. Like if you're a fire dragon and you go to the lava biome to lay your eggs, it's probably going to be the easiest place to hatch them for you, because you got to keep fire dragon eggs hot, and it's already hot in the lava biome. So
will there be a mechanic to hunt fish or other small water AI in the streams, river, etc.?
There might be fish. There's definitely going to be stuff in the water, but most of it's probably going to be stuff that can come out of the water too. So about having fish that are just specifically in the water all the time, maybe, I don't know yet. With an ocean biome, that's like a given. You got to have that. But right now, the swamps and the oasis and the rivers and stuff like that, they might have fish. I don't know yet.
Is the system for becoming an alpha dragon going to be in the game at launch? I assume they need early access.
Maybe.
And when it does come, will there be an alpha cap of sorts?
There is an alpha cap, yes.
Someone asked, what are a few things that can be expected within the beta once that it launches in October?
Bugs, server crashes, broken, new stuff coming in, getting ready for November 21st that breaks the game and needs to be tested. A lot of server wipes, server resets, lots and lots of updates, all that fun stuff.
And for those of you who have never done a beta for a game before, that is completely normal with the game. You guys will be our testers for those of you that have access. So you'll be helping smooth out any rough edges in the game for those people who are going to be able to play it come early access.
Was that a question?
No, that's just coming
I
from
thought it was a
experience
statement.
that's coming from experience having done alphas,
Okay,
betas,
yeah, I didn't think it was
God
a question.
knows however many others. But some people have never actually done a beta before, so
yes, this is not going to be like most games where the beta is you get to play the game and it already works and it's already polished, and all we're doing is testing to make some classes before we nerf them, so you fall in love with this super awesome class, and then they launch the game and you find out they nerfed it and it only does half the damage. It's not that kind of beta. This is like a real beta where you're beta testing a game with bugs and broken features, and you're helping us get the thing ready for launch, and in return for your help you get to play it before everybody else does, and you'll be able to find areas and write down coordinates and things like that, so you will have somewhat of a gameplay advantage as far as being familiar with the game. But there's going to be a lot of features that, like, I saw people saying, yeah, I'm going to find out how to unlock alpha or elemental in the beta. No, you're not, because that will not be in beta, because I don't want people in beta finding all that information out, and then, like, the very first week of release, there's elementals running around everywhere, and there's a guide on on the internet where people can just get a walkthrough on how to do it. So I got to try to keep the game a little mysterious at launch.
What about feather dragons? Do you think of them? Any ideas of in the future about making feather dragons as well?
If Bad Parrot has her way, there's going to be feather dragons. She really wants feathered dragons in the game.
I'm just picturing a feathered amphitheater now.
Let's see. It says, how are you planning to stop hackers from messing with the rarity, skills, skins, growth, etc.?
Ban them. I mean, I'm going to try to keep as much stuff in the game server side as possible, all the important stuff, because when it's server side, server authoritative, then they can try to manipulate the memory in their their RAM as much as they want to try to trick the game, but the server says, hey, that's not right, and then it doesn't let them do it. So but the hackers are going to be hackers, and they're going to try to cheat and break the game, and if I find them, I'm going to ban them from being able to play the game, period. As far as trying to, there's going to be things that are exploitable, through bugs. and people are going to find bugs on servers, and that's something server owners are going to have to take care of. They're going to have like rules about if there is a bug and a known bug that we're trying to fix, but it's live. The server owners are going to have to try to police that on their own servers and say, don't exploit this bug. But there ain't nothing I can do about, bugs are bound to happen. But I'm trying to keep, from when I started building the server and started doing the code on this game from the ground up, I've had hackers and cheaters in mind. So I'm trying to keep them out of the being able to manipulate and break the game for everybody else. So I'm trying to keep as much on the server as possible.
A question that I keep seeing pop up is asking, will there be sound in the beta release?
Yes. Maybe not all the sounds, might not be all in beta, but the next build I put out is going to have sound in it. And I told some streamers that they want to video it, so I give them the first look at the new dragon models coming out and the combat and the sound effects, so that they can put that on their videos. And I'm going to try to get that out before Kickstarter's over, so we'll have like one final last push on our Kickstarter campaign.
Do you plan on enriching the flight mechanics to allow more people, more player control, and streamline takeoff and maneuvers?
The flight system and the movement system is going to be a continual work in progress. There's always going to be room for improvement and making it better, adding more features to it. So that will just come in time. Right now, it's just, right now it works. It's pretty fluid. But like every time a dragon's added to the game, or AI, or elementals, all of their animations have to be tweaked individually. So
in single player, will you be able to breed with like an AI dragon?
I don't know. Maybe you could just drop an egg, but I'm not planning on having like a complete single player experience where the AI actually acts like players. What I will have is a single player game where you can play as a dragon and interact with AI in the world. Will there be other dragons in single player? I don't know. Maybe in the future, but you'll have access to the same world, the same biomes, the same AI. You'll have access to all Kickstarter exclusives in single player. So, it's more for people that just want to play by themselves, I guess. But it's not going to be like a single player supplement for multiplayer, because I can't reproduce players. Maybe like way down the road we could do that. Have like dragon AI in single player, but the first version of single player is going to be just you in a world. It'd pretty much be no different than you jumping into your own server all by yourself. There's the AI there, you know, all the gameplay is there, but it's just you.
Will the only way dragons be able to fight is with fire or their element, or will you be able to latch onto other players with your mouth and possibly take them down in the air, or use your tail, etc.?
You know, bite attacks won't be the only attacks. I don't know exactly what all kind of attacks there's going to be. Probably would depend on what kind of dragon it is. Does he got big old horns? You know, maybe he would have a horn attack. Does he have a big strong tail? Maybe he's going to have a tail attack. You know, it just depends on the dragon.
Are there plans for biomes and environments that are more suited and habitable by different species, such as a dense forest for smaller dragons, or canopies that hide drakes from dragons and wyverns?
What biome you live in is going to be up to you. So, you know, if you're a ice drake and you want to go live in the lava land, just don't step in the lava because you'd be really weak to it. I mean, in your skin patterns, you know, like if you're an ice dragon, you're going to have more bluish, whitish colored, grayish colored skin patterns, and if you're a fire dragon, more reddish, orangish, blackish patterns. So I guess depending on you know, what kind of dragon you are, you'd probably blend in better in different biomes.
Will the concept art for the dragons be posted here, or are they going to be posted on the official website when they are complete?
You'll probably see it first here on Discord. I like Discord because I don't have to open up my internet browser and go to a website and then log into the website and post something that way, or I don't have to go to, you know, open up Steam and go to the Steam community page. And Discord, it just runs on my desktop. I just click the little icon, it pops right up, and I just drag an image into a channel and boom, it's there. So I try to do as much time saving things as I can. So you guys on Discord, you would see the concepts first.
Okay. I keep seeing people with breeding questions, which is fine. It says, with breeding, will there be anything stopping inter-family breeding?
I don't know yet. Maybe.
And I guess the next question, because I keep seeing the breeding ones, how dependent will hatchlings be on their parents, and what kind of features will hatchlings have?
I think somebody already asked.
Yeah, that was answered.
Okay.
I think I forgot to check it.
Yes, you forgot to check it. My bad.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, who's checking these questions?
Let's see, in endgame.
How does Biome Travel work? Do you reach the edge and hit a load screen, or do you have to go to a specific place?
Right now, there's portals. So you fly into the portal, and then it brings up a loading screen, and it moves you to the next biome. It you know, unloads the current biome from memory. It loads in a new biome from memory, or into memory, and then boom, you're there.
Will there be specific biome and combat music for, let's say, you're in the cave, that there's one track, and if you're in the forest, another? Or is it one list of tracks that are constantly rotating?
I don't know yet. Up until a couple weeks ago, I didn't even know if we'd have a soundtrack in the game. So, I do want a soundtrack. Already talking to music guys. I've had several people send me sound samples or music samples already. Waiting on a couple others. But the music track is going to play while you're in the game. I don't know if it's going to be biome specific. It could be. That's a cool idea. But then, I'd have to say I need a lava land mix of music, and then I need a desert mix of music, and so all that stuff can be done. I just up until a couple weeks ago didn't even think that we'd even have a soundtrack. So I got a ideas list that I keep track of ideas. So that's a good idea.
Someone Methy Seal asks, since that there will be no customizations for your skin, why exactly is it not being implemented?
Because when a developer gives people everything they want right from the get-go, what's the point in playing the game? If we gave everybody cool skins, all the different customization options right at the get-go, and you just spawn in, and everybody sees your custom designed dragon. You didn't have to work for that. You just made it in the screen and spawned in the game as it, and there's nothing special about it. But when you get that like 1 in 100 chance dice roll, and you get that skin in the game, and then everybody that's been trying to get that skin for days or weeks or even months and never had that luck, and they want it so bad, and you're the only person on the server that has that skin, and everybody's begging you to nest them in, and you're just a baby, and it's like, I can't nest yet. And so people are now offering to protect you and help you grow up so that you can nest them in so that they can get that skin. That creates a lot of community engagement. It creates friendships. It adds a gameplay mechanic. So there's so much that adds to the game by not giving people that at the beginning and letting them get it in the game.
How often will they have to eat and drink?
I'd have to look at the numbers. I got the numbers written down somewhere, but the eating and drinking system's already in the game. I guess you'd have to time yourself and see how long it takes you to starve.
In the current alpha,
die of thirst. Yeah, in the current alpha.
In the current alpha, it takes 30 minutes for the babies to starve from hatchling.
Okay. 30 minutes for a baby to starve to death right now. And that changes as you grow older. But yeah, all that stuff's it's already in the game, and I don't have the numbers on me right now. So.
Will there be will there be a hitbox system, like more damage to the head versus tail, etc.?
Somebody already asked that question.
What was the answer, Jo? I didn't hear that.
We already answered that question.
Okay,
I believe the answer was no.
Check marking.
Oopsie. Are you going to try to balance the creatures the best you can? I think
to the best of my ability.
Between dragons and elementals.
Yeah, to the best of my ability, and balancing is a work in progress. Because no matter what it looks like on paper, the way people play the game is going to change how things are balanced. So the idea is that elemental will be on par with a alpha dragon, regardless of what species. But it also depends on what kind of elemental. So if you're a fire elemental going up against a fire alpha dragon, um, you know, that fire elemental is going to be immune to all your fire attacks. So you're going to have to fight him, you know, with, you know, biting him and that kind of thing. So in that situation, he'd probably have an advantage in physical strength. So, you know, if you're an ice elemental and you're fighting a fire dragon alpha, then he's going to be weak to your fire attacks, and you'll kind of have a range advantage on him. So, you know, it's a balancing process. The elementals will have ranged abilities too. They'll have stuns. You know, they'll be able to stun dragons. So, and big AOE attacks. So it's going to be a balancing act. The elementals are very strong, and even when a alpha dragon is on par with an elemental, you're going to need the right kind of alpha dragon to take down that elemental. So it's going to be good to have friends. Elementals will want to group up with other elementals to protect themselves. Dragon alphas are going to want to group up with other dragon alphas, but I'm sure a lot of them are going to also want to kill each other. So,
What is the biggest limitation you are dealing with currently while you're developing Day of Dragons?
time.
I had a feeling that was going to be the answer.
I had plenty of time until Kickstarter blew up, and this whole month of September, just kind of, it just kind of went poof. So, you know, I was on a very, very lax schedule. I had, you know, I had a couple weeks of leeway in case I ran into bugs, and now it's like, wow, where'd all my time go? You know, I'm 2 weeks behind schedule now. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, time. Release is still going to happen November 21st. I'm going to try to get everything on my schedule done by then, but I don't know if it's going to happen because, you know, of what happened. There's over 15,000 people on our Discord now, so and I gotta, you know, you guys have questions, so I gotta answer your questions, and you know, I'm not going to be one of those devs that doesn't interact with the community because, you know, everybody's like putting me up on a pedestal. I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular person like everybody else. You know, so, you know, I'm going to try to interact. I'm going to try to answer questions when I can. I'm going to try to help out the streamers that are helping us. And all at the same time, I'm going to try to keep my schedule.
Will we be able to place nests anywhere?
Maybe. I don't know.
Will server owners have admin commands and server settings at early access, and will server hosting be available during beta, or do we have to wait until early?
There's already admin commands. Server owners will be able to assign who is an admin or not. It's all done through a config file on the server. You just need their Steam IDs. You just put their Steam IDs on the config, and they have admin access. There's also a blacklist for banned players. There's a whitelist. If you only want to allow people on the whitelist to join the server, then there's that too. There's a nice list of admin commands already. I'm constantly adding more admin commands. Whatever I feel like admins need to run servers, I'm going to put it in. So some of the commands I've added have been from server owners that have contacted me through messages and said, we'd really like to have this command or this ability to do this. And others I wrote down, and it's something that I plan to do later. But community will not have access to the beta servers. We'll have a beta server or two up for putting out builds before they go to live. They'll be public, anybody can join them, but I'm not going to allow anybody to host beta servers. I'm going to keep all the beta servers official. You know, at launch, I know Nodecraft is already ready to go. They're going to be running our official servers. They're going to offer server hosting. They have no slot limits, so they don't charge by the slot. You just rent the server, and you have as many people on there, as few as you want within the limit. It's a minimum of 2 and max of 250. It's hard coded in the game, so I'll let you manage your own sliders. But I've had other server hosting companies already contact me. I have a server kit that I give them, and gives them all the information they need to get the servers set up and running for you when you start hosting. If you plan on hosting your own private servers, if you have your own boxes and you know you want to host it and you want the server packet, you know, just message me, let me know, and I'll give that to you, and it has all the info in there for downloading servers. And the servers are free. They're a free Steam tool. I don't think you'll even need to own the game. I think you just can download them from Steam. So you just need a Steam account. Or you can do it with anonymous, but the anonymous login through Steam command is really buggy. It's better just to have a separate Steam account.
How will we be able to tell whether or not we are 100% resistant to certain elements? Like, will there be some sort of screen that lists the character's stats?
Yeah, if you want to know, lay an egg if you're a female, and the egg will show you what your stats are. And if you're a male, once you activate that egg, all your stats will show up on that egg too. And I'm doing it this way because I don't want people to spawn into the game, you know, hit the stat screen button, pop up, you know, show their stats and say, oh man, look at I didn't want, you know, a 1% damage buff. I wanted the 10% damage buff. Somebody kill me. You know, I don't want people doing that. So if you want to know what your stats are, you have to grow up and you know, lay an egg.
With the biome transfers via portals, is that a temporary system?
Possibly. You know, there's different ways of doing a massive world. The way I'm doing it now is the most efficient, best performant. I can put more people on the server. I can run it on lower end machines. If I make one 20 by 20 map or landscape and try to mix and mingle all the different biomes on that one landscape, like, you know, other games do, then it you know, it makes the game kind of not be so realistic, because it's like, oh, I'm in the desert, look over there, you can see the snow, the snowy redwoods, you know, over that mountain. I mean, where in the world do you go and you find snowy redwoods right beside a desert? So, you know, I could do it that way. That was the original plan. I did not like how unrealistic it made the game look when I had all these biomes right beside each other, and you're trying to figure out which biome goes where on the map, and trying to make it make sense. And then it's like, well, if I add an ocean biome or an ocean, then, you know, I got to redo the map anyway. And every time I want to add a new biome, I have to redo the map. The way I'm doing it now, each biome is its own map, and I can add a new map without changing any of the other maps. I can add a new biome without changing any of the other biomes. So if I want to, you know, make some tweaks in the desert, it doesn't affect the whole world. It doesn't affect any other biome. So I can work on them individually. Like I said, it will run the best on everybody's machine because you only have one biome loaded at a time. So it cuts back on the amount of textures you have loaded. It cuts back on the amount of actors the server's replicating to you, and all this different stuff. So right now we're going to try the portal system because it's the best system. It's not the most immersive because, I mean, you got a loading screen, but I think you all will find it in your hearts to forgive me once you, for the loading screens, once you see how cool the world's going to be.
So that goes with a question I just read saying that is the map's no longer going to be big and open where you can just fly from biome to biome. You'd have to take a portal now, right?
It's going to be bigger because the system I was originally going to do was 120 by 20. And with this system, every biome can be its own 20 by 20.
Which is huge.
Right. So you're not no longer going to be able to fly biome to biome. You'll have to go through the portal to access the other biome.
That's the current system, yeah. And you know, testing changes things. So, but right now, I mean, the portal system is live right now on the test build or test server that's up right now, and it works, and nobody's having any issues with it. So.
And it works, and I have to say, right now the portals that you have in place, they almost look a little scary.
Ooh, I just had a thought though too. You could make the portals like more environmental, like you go into this cave in the desert and then you come out in the redwoods or stuff like that, instead of it being just a cloud hovering in the air. That was just my 2 cents.
So you're saying like the actual portal themed like the biome you'll enter?
No, just have the portal not just hovering in midair. That's just my thought.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
Meep.
But it's definitely an interesting mechanic, and I'm liking it so far.
So much more space to explore. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
What was your reasoning to choose less well-known creature AIs instead of more familiar ones such as unicorns, griffins, and other mythical creatures?
Because unicorns and griffins and phoenixes and stuff like that, they're kind of they're kind of not the theme I'm going for in this game. Those you know, dragons are kind of a universal type legendary creature, you know, in every culture, you know, has legends of dragons. There's a lot of freedom when you're making dragons and what they look like, what they can do. A phoenix, there's no freedom in that. It's a fire bird, pretty much. A unicorn, there's no freedom in a unicorn. It's a horse with a horn on its head. You know, it's usually white. There's no freedom with a griffin. It's half lion and half hawk or eagle or whatever. and everybody knows what they look like. Everybody knows what they do. With dragons, there's lots of freedom. There's all kinds of dragons. Dragons have all kinds of abilities. So I think it's more about the freedom to do what I want and to stay away from people having a preconceived notion of what a creature should be able to do, what it shouldn't be able to do, what it should look like, what it shouldn't look like. In Day of Dragons, I want to have complete design and creative freedom to make the world or make the creatures in the world the way I want them.
Someone asked, since you mentioned possible air combat, and if somebody's carrying a baby, would there be like a glide mechanic for the baby, or will they just fall?
I have no idea. That's something that I can't even answer until we actually have that mechanic in the game, if it's coming in the game.
I see there's been snow added to the redwoods. Very pretty.
It's pretty too.
Is there going to be seasonal weather through the year?
Weather, probably. How I'm going to do the weather, I don't know. I don't know. I might do the weather through server updates. I might just change the weather, and it's this way for a server update, and then change it again. Or it might be a dynamic weather system, or it might be admin controlled weather system. I don't know yet. When I get to that point where I actually start putting weather in the game, right now the only weather in the game is snow. It's because I like snow.
Will biomes affect dragon stats? Like if a fire dragon is in the ice biome, will this fire breath attack weaker?
No.
In Anthomnia's video, Jo said that the wyvern's special ability will be lighting themselves on fire, thus setting yourself on fire apply to all species of wyvern, and and the same for other species of dragon and drake. Do the subspecies share the same special ability?
It's unique to each specific creature.
Yeah, so like wyvern with different kind of elements.
Yeah. Every wyvern's different. Every four-legged dragon's different. Every drake's different. What they do share in similarity is, their features. Wyvern has 2 legs and 2 winged arms. Dragon has 4 legs and 2 wings on its back. Drake has 4 legs and no wings. So they all share that, and they'll all share like drakes will have higher resistances than dragons or wyverns because they can't fly. So
now for the beta, is there going to be safe zones to prevent from spawn killing?
No, I don't. Safe zones are just as exploitable as spawn killing. You're fighting somebody around a safe zone, and they run into the safe zone, so you can't kill them. And then you end up starving to death because that was your food, and now you can't kill your food because they're in the safe zone. I'm not planning on having any safe zones in the game. There's going to be egg spawn points all over the place. So you're not going to be able to just camp the only spawn point in the game. So, and we were already testing babies. The babies are so small, they hide so well in the vegetation that you can't see them. So once they hatch, all they gotta do is run into a bush, and it's like you'd never know they were there. And if they do die, I mean, they lost maybe 5 or 10 minutes of growth, so it's not a huge. It's the impact is nowhere near what a safe zone would do to the game, with how it could be exploited.
I keep seeing this question asked over and over. Is there going to be a story element to the game like in Subnautica, or is it just going to be survival like Ark?
I'm not just a programmer, I'm also a writer. And I like a good story.
What
so
will
that's a subtle hint from Jo saying there might be something planned.
What will happen to your dragons when you disconnect from the server?
When a dragon disconnects from the server, their body's going to stay in the game for 60 seconds before it goes poof.
Poof.
Yep. I have to put that in. Yeah, I feel bad for the people that disconnect because of internet issues, but if I don't do that, what's going to happen is people are going to exploit it. They're going to be in a fight that they can't win, and they're going to pull their Ethernet plug out of the back of their computer, and then they would instantly poof, and they would use that as an exploit. So I can either allow that, which I don't want to do because they'll break the game, or have it work as the same as the log out system. When somebody logs out, if they log out immediately and there's somebody nearby, they stay in the game for 60 seconds. If they log out and there's nobody nearby except maybe group members, then they'll instantly poof.
Are there going to be an island map like they have in How to Train Your Dragons?
How many biomes I put in the game? There's really no limit. So
you basically
I don't
have
know.
to explore.
Yes, I don't know what all kind of biomes are going to come down the road. I know what biomes I have planned, but more could come later, like an ocean expansion or something.
Will the mechanics behind certain dragons, like the healer dragon, for example, be slapped onto a current model so that way they can be tested to see how they work? Or is that something that's going to have to wait till the models are ready?
Or is this like a Path of Titans type thing where they're like allowing people to play a little creature demo type thing?
No, from the question, it just sounds like that they're trying to see if they'll be tested out and balanced, or we're just going to have to wait to see how they fit in when the models themselves are ready.
Before anything goes live, it's going to go on the test server. So the test server will be open to everybody after launch. And anybody can hop on the test server and test it out. You know, test out the new changes that are coming in, leave feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's what they were concerned about, is like if you add it later on once the model is done, how is that going to be? Are you going to have to rebalance everything?
When changes are made to the test server, I just change them right on the test server. I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question.
Well, I guess from what I understand, it's probably similar to how they've done the Isle, like when they've added a new dinosaur in, they would essentially have to go back and rebalance all the previous species. So that way,
I don't think I want to. I don't know. I mean, I have, you know, I already have an idea of what I want, so it's not like I'm just coming up with new dragons and then I'm trying to fit them into the game. I'm going to take from my pool of ideas and then I'm going to add them to the game. And I guess maybe if I run out of dragon ideas, you know, maybe like in an expansion, you know, I'd have to look at how water dragons would fit into, you know, the game system with an ocean biome. But I don't plan on like balancing everything else to make the new ones fit. I plan on balancing the new one to make it fit with everything else.
will there only be ice behemoths, or will we get behemoths with other elements?
You mean like the Red Death?
Probably. I mean, you really don't want to be giving away everything, right?
Kickstarter backers are not the only ones that will have access to giant dragons.
Okay, someone asked, so what's the current element roster like? Like they keep seeing different elements like earth, stone, or acid, poison.
So
Now
far,
water and
fire, ice, electricity, plasma, and acid are the only 5 that are confirmed.
So you really don't have an idea of what the you know, what the final will be, but that's just the ones you've got planned for right now, correct?
Yeah, those 5 are confirmed.
Seeing how you said you wanted to do dynamic weather systems in the game, will there be a dynamic weather damage as well? If you've got a bad sandstorm or windstorm, will there be wind or sand blast?
No, probably not. Okay, I'll take just one more question.
I was just
and
gonna
then,
ask, how many more did you want it to do?
Yeah, let's just do one more question. It's almost been 2 hours.
Yeah, I just looked at my clock and saw that, so I'm trying to see. Another one I have seen repeatedly.
Will it be on
Is-
consoles? That
Please.
one
well,
gets
aside from
asked
the
all the
console
time.
one.
Please don't count that.
I have
Yes.
I have
Yeah, don't count that.
absolutely no plans whatsoever to put the game on consoles, and here's why. The game has been built from the ground up around the Steam API. The servers depend on Steam. The code, everything in the game is built around the Steam API. So that means no Epic Store exclusive. That means no consoles. To put this game on a console, I would have to rebuild the game with the console in mind. I'd have to port it over to the consoles, and that would take me a long time, months, 6 months, maybe 8. I don't know, but I don't have any time to do that. I have no plans to do that because I want to get the game done by and launched, smooth launch, early access launch, and then the whole early access time frame is going to be adding more features, adding more content, dragons and things like that into the game. And then once all of that's done, and the 20 to 30 new dragons are all in the game, sometime in 2021, I'd like to add an expansion, maybe an ocean expansion or something like that. And for me to add, console support would take so much development time. And not to mention, Microsoft, I'd have to get a Microsoft license, a Sony license, and they'd want their cuts. And, I'd basically have to rebuild the servers to work off of their servers. And so no plans on consoles. I know there's a lot of console gamers out there, and maybe you can buy you can buy a computer that would run this game for the same price that you would buy the new Xbox or the new PlayStation coming out. So no console support. At least and if I did any console support, it wouldn't be until like 2022 or 2023, so it'd be a long ways off.
Okay, I got 3 separate questions. Will there be zombies / skeletons / ghost
No.
dragon skins or actual species?
No.
Okay.
No.
Will there be events related to skins like Halloween, Christmas, all time, etc.?
No. Events maybe, skins no.
Any gliding dragons, a sugar glider, flying squirrel kind of membrane?
Who knows? Dragons. That's what this game is going to have in it. All kinds of dragons. So, all right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to the first voice chat Q&A. Appreciate your support. Appreciate y'all telling everybody about our game and making Kickstarter unbelievably successful. I've had Humble Bundle contacted me, Chinese East to West Game Publishing contacted me, Exola, they take payments for different game systems. They contacted me. Had Amazon contact me. All kinds of people are contacting me. So, people are seeing what you guys are doing on Kickstarter for us, and they're seeing that this game has a lot of potential, not just to be successful, but to draw in a lot of gamers, because the dragon game market is pretty dry right now. So you guys are showing the world that there is a market for dragon games. So I would suspect that there's going to probably be more dragon games popping up out there, so in the future. But thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your pledges, and being a part of our Discord community. You guys have been really easy to manage in that you haven't caused us very much trouble, other than I'm not getting a whole lot of sleep. But other than that, you guys have been a joy to it's been great, seeing all the excitement and the hype in our community, and all the clans forming, and the server communities popping in, and people wanting to play this game. This game that was just an idea 2 years ago, and now it's here. So thank you, and we'll do this again sometime. We'll let you know. We'll announce it. We do have, if you missed it, the latecomers combo. We added, I think, 30 more of those today. Every day I'm going to add a small little batch of latecomers combos until the end of Kickstarter. So if you missed out on some of the exclusives, I'll add a couple, just a few each day until the end. We're not going to go over 500 latecomers combos. I think it's up to 230 right now. We're going to keep it under 10% of our total Kickstarter backers. And in the game, this game has 30,000 players, or 100,000 players, even 1,000 white skin backers. That's going to be such a small percentage, 1/10, or 1/10 of a percent, or even smaller than that, 1/100th of a percent. So it's going to be very, very rare to find somebody with it in the game. And these Kickstarter rewards, they're going to be really cool. They're going to be epic. People are going to wish that they were around when Kickstarter happened. These aren't going to be just color changes. They're going to make the creatures look really cool, and it's our way of saying thank you for believing in us through Kickstarter. Thank you for pledging your support and enabling us to be able to put all this content in the game that is much more than what we thought we would ever get to do. So thank you, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you, Jo.
Now go get some sleep.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sleep.
That's what I keep telling myself as a mom.